what it is. I'm your main man, Mikey D, aka Stony Mike, and I'm here to give you this little Stony playthrough. But before we get into that nice and stony playthrough, you already know what time it is. It's time to get nice and stony. I'm gonna smoke me a little something, and we're gonna discuss something. Got a video pulled up right here. I want to discuss this mainly because I'm starting to see this pop up, and I'm starting to see the people that I've always suspected of not being who they claim to be. Uh, I'm starting to see them do the finger pointing. You know, I have a saying, and I'm pretty sure people have heard it: the guilty dog barks first, and it's always the truth. The dog that's guilty of everything is the one that's doing all the extra shit, all that barking, all that huffing and puffing. They're the guilty ones. If you have dogs, you know what I'm talking about, because when they tear up shit, that's what they do. They instantly go to doing that. So let me pull this video up, and we're gonna see. Hopefully, I don't get copyrighted over this. Joe, I love you. Let me talk about this. I gotta use you because you're the only person who's really want to talk about it either. Also, so let's get into this, because this is one of those things that let me load my bowl before I do this, because I'm gonna get to thinking out loud a lot, because I have very strong opinions towards every politician. There's not a politician alive that's gonna get by without facing some form of wrath that I have in my mind against them. And the main reason why is because most politicians, if not every last one of them, has done something really fucked up to get where they're at. Even the smallest of fucking positions, holding a goddamn town hall council, the corruption that gets just to go to that is unreal. It's absolutely bonkers. And then there's people who will come out of the woodwork to defend it by saying, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's not as bad as you say it is. You're just a tin hat wearer. You just like to create conspiracy theories. It's no longer a conspiracy theory that politicians are corrupt bullshitters, okay? We got fucking generations of fucking fact proving that, okay? We don't have to debate that there's no debate at that point, at this point. Like, politicians are just corrupt. Plain and simple. There ain't no getting around that. There are some who just so happen to have the same gain that we all get, and then we all win when they get to be greedy, and that's fine. Take a win where you can get them, right? And sometimes they exist on both sides, Sometimes there's, a greedy party where we all win on the left, and there's a greedy party where we all win on the right. And there's no guarantee with either side, period. There's just not. It's an inherently corrupt system that every now and then you get a good egg that turns up and it's just like, oh, and then most of the time they get fucking JFK'd. So, like, what's the point? Well, in this situation, I have recently, because I've watched a lot of things that people like Ron DeSantis say, and I don't agree with everything he says. I honestly think that, unlike most conservative people, I actually think that abortion has its purpose, has a place. There's legitimately a scientific need for abortion. No one wants to carry a rape baby, and you shouldn't be forced to carry it. Period. Even with adoption being a thing for afterwards, you should not be forced to carry that. So those situations, I totally agree that should be there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard Ron DeSantis say the same thing along the same thing. that abortion should still be there. It should still be a viable option for people who are raped. It's not like that should always be a thing. What it shouldn't be is it shouldn't be someone's plan B. Like, if you don't want to wear a fucking condom, then maybe find somebody that you can just permanently have sex with. And if you don't want to have children, maybe you should find somebody who just ain't capable of having children. There's plenty of those. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't go plan life creation unless you want to actually take care of that life. That's my opinion on that. And I strongly feel that that's how most people are. Based off of what I've seen, most people are, they only care about, the life that they're bringing in. If somebody wants to, off an unborn fetus, that's their priority. Now, I would prefer there be a legitimate reason, like it being like a rape baby or something like that. No one wants to carry that. I get it. I totally understand that. That is yet again a situation that should totally be allowed. But at the end of the day, you should definitely think about fucking what this man is about. Well, I don't think he's gonna show what I saw, because I saw a little bit of this video. But Ron DeSantis has said a lot of things that I agree with, and a lot of things I don't agree with. But one thing I just cannot wrap my head around is why Trump wants to go after him. Why is Trump coming after him? Maybe because Ron DeSantis has an actual chance at winning. Truth is, there's a lot of people even on the Republican side that do not like Trump. They refuse to like him. And I'm not talking about the rhinos. See, there's rhinos, and I honestly think Trump is one too. I don't think he's a Republican. I think he just chose the Republican Party in order to get voted in. I don't think he's a Republican. I think he probably fit more in the Libertarian Party, but had he ran Libertarian, he would have never gotten it. Never. You cannot run anything outside of the Democrat or Republican Party if you want to get into the presidency. Plain and simple. If you're a Libertarian, you might as well fucking find a side. Find a side that you can fucking manipulate. Because that's the only way that works. And see, if I know that it's manipulation, then everyone else should know that. I mean, that's truthful. I truly feel that way. If I can see that it's manipulation, you should be able to see it's manipulation. That's all politicians ever work with, is manipulation. If they didn't have that tool, you would not vote for them. You would not willingly give away tax dollars to them so that way they can line their pockets and fucking send it over to special interest groups across the seas. You would not be doing all that if you knew as well as I did about these fucking idiots. I'm telling you, every politician is a moron. They're very good. They're very smart criminally. They're very intelligent criminally. But when it becomes to their actual intellectual value, they are redundant and stupid as it all gets. They cannot fucking play in the same fucking me and you as a common person. We are way better than they are. And I'm not saying that to toot my horn or your horn or anyone else's. I'm saying that because it's the God's honest truth. They are mentally inferior. They do not have what it takes to stay in the same playing field as us. That's why they have to do corrupt and criminal shit to stay above us. That's the only way. Now, that little rant aside, let's get into this.
A Rogan experience.
This is something I wanted to talk to you about. Trump versus DeSantis in 2024. Who's the favorite? Who do you think wins?
I don't know. Do you think that happens? It seems like they're positioning that, right?
They are.
But
I can see it
wouldn't the
myself.
ultimate be they combine? they combine forces. But if DeSantis thinks
Never going to do that.
You don't think so?
No. Trump's
Okay.
ego, he would never.
Now, here's what I think. And it kind of goes in what he just said. And it aligns with something that Nostradamus himself predicted for this year. Actually, it would be that year. It was either the turn of this year or the turn of that year. Regardless, the new nation, which would be us, is what he said. A new nation that, fallen from grace, will eventually elect a strong and weak leader. Both an equally strong and a weak leader. Meaning, there's two, because he said leaders, he pluralized it. So, I'm thinking it's possible, that there would be a Ron DeSantis Trump election. It's possible. In this case, Trump would be the weaker man. Not physically he is, but I mean as far as integrity and as acceptance goes, yeah, he would be the weaker man. Mainly because the people you see and hear the most from the Republican side are just his people. But if you look outside of that, there are other people who would prefer DeSantis. They would prefer not to have a shit show 24/7. So it makes sense that, he would fulfill that, Nostradamus prophecy, and possibly, but I don't know. It's not one of a strong theory that I like to put in, because the Nostradamus things, they kind of are real. Like, you could see that, you could easily, but the thing about those statements is that they're all loose, so you can tie them to a lot of events. I could tie a lot of the Nostradamus stuff to anything, really, to be honest with you, of that time period that he would be speaking on. But there are some things that, that was written down in stone by him that you just you can't ignore it.
Ever T-Mobile. He's already been shitting on him for the past month.
Yeah, but he shit on people before and brought him into the fold. Think about all the shit that he said to Ted Cruz and all those other people.
Yeah, but the difference is Ted Cruz cucked himself to Trump. So Ted bent the knee after a while. And what happened was, that was actually a really interesting story. So he went to the RNC and he said, vote your conscience, which basically was he wasn't endorsing Trump. He was saying, do whatever you want. I'm not endorsing him. Then he got a phone call from his billionaire donor daddy, Robert Mercer, I think his name is. And he was like, remember who you work for. And so Ted fell in line. And then he was phone banking for Trump with that Weasley face on, yeah, vote for Donald Trump. And so he fell in line. And so I don't think
DeSantis is not going to do that.
I mean, if he's smart, I don't think he would. Look, if you had a straight up race, just Trump versus DeSantis,
if he was smart, like the man said, he would take Trump on head to fucking head, and he would destroy him. Because let's be real, Trump was a lifelong Democrat, even during times when being a Democrat was a very racist thing to do or be. So let's go back, and I don't think Trump's a racist in any way, but I do think that he is a fucked individual, and I do think that if you're gonna sit here and truly want to be Republican, okay, by the sense of the whole fucking word, Donald Trump is not your choice. He wasn't ever a Republican. He doesn't have Republican values. And if you share the same values as him, then you're not a Republican either, honestly. I'm not a Republican. I don't have the same values as Republicans. I'm like, the title says, I'm apolitical as fuck. I like to personally be the guy who's on the outside staring in, so that way I'm not distracted by my own fucking thoughts. I can actually look at everybody's opinions and and all their beliefs and stuff. And instead of having one to argue with, I can have my own thoughts about their thoughts, about their opinions. That's what I like to be. I like to be that guy. So staring into each other's houses, staring into the house of the Republicans, staring into the house of the Democrats, I see their problems, and I see their righteousness. I see where they could be good. Both sides have the ability to do it. They just don't want to do it. There's no profit off of it. Both sides are figuring a way to line their pockets. Now, granted, some of these younger bucks over here on the Republican side are trying their hardest to stick to the old ways, to get to or to the actual sense of the word Republican. It's kind of hard to say old ways when Republican in nature, it was very, very, very fickle. It seemed like it was a good thing, and it truly was, but like all things, it could change. Like all things, and it did. And now you got very few of the older people who are wanting anything of the sense of Republicans. So, and then you got the younger people, like I said, who are trying to do what they can to make things a little bit better, but it's a little icky.
I actually think DeSantis could win that. But the problem for DeSantis is this. There's already a bunch of other assholes who nobody cares about who are jumping in the race, who are going to get 2%, 3%. And that all comes out of DeSantis' numbers and not Trump's numbers. So if you have a race with 10 different Republicans, 9 of them are not Donald Trump. 9 of them are splitting the non-Donald Trump vote, and there's one Trump who can win with 29% of the vote or something like that,
Right.
which is likely. Which is like Nikki Haley. She seems like she's going to run. She's a fucking total donor creation. Nobody gives a fuck about her. She's been told by rich people, yeah, you're the one. Go ahead. She's going to get destroyed, right? But she runs. Mike Pompeo, he wants to run. John Bolton, all these people are going to run. And then if you have all of them and DeSantis and Trump, you're handing it over to Trump. There are other Republicans who need to get in a room behind closed doors, talk it out, and say.
That's what I was just about to say. I was just about to say that if they don't get together, if DeSantis doesn't actually go to not the RNC, but to Republicans that he trusts and doesn't discuss things with them, there will be a toss-up, and the toss-up will go straight to Trump. Because, like he said, Trump only has to win with a certain amount because he's got a fucking cult behind him. The MAGA cult is a cult. I will be the first one to fucking tell you, if you constantly wear your MAGA hat and you're fucking going around I will be the first to tell you, you are a bootlicking, cuck-loving, motherfucking cultist. That's all you are. That's all you are. I do not have no love for someone who is like that. And the main reason why is because the Bible itself tells me not to fucking trust you. You are fucking following the worst of things. I believe they call it idolatry. I've seen some of the worst fucking shit put in the name of Trump. But I've seen worse shit for the other side. The other side has condoned pedophilia. The other side has hid pedophilia. The other side is fucking trying to create laws that protects pedophiles. I'm sorry, but that side will always be my enemy as long as they do that. And Republicans, I don't have enemies on there. I have people that I don't trust. I don't trust Trump, and I don't trust any of the people who wholeheartedly believe every fucking word he says. I have friends that are on both sides of the parties, and as my friends, they both agree with the things that I say. They don't trust Trump. They don't trust Yeah, and the Democrat ones, they don't trust any of the shit that's got to do with fucking allowing drag queens to go into schools and read stories and shit. Like, normal sane people don't agree with this weird politics shit that's going on. The political shit that has been pushed into our lives the past 12 years, no normal sane person, and I say that meaning like sane, like as in someone who, has, because we're all insane. If you make it past the age of 21, you are an insane person. But there's levels to that shit. There's levels to insanity, and I think the insanity that I am speaking on is in the level of benevolence. There's a sense of benevolence in it, and there's a sense of I forgot the word I was going to use, but you can see there's a good sense of awareness with that insanity, and I am very, very much aware that I cannot trust.
Look, we all have egos here, but we got to put it aside, and they should dole stuff out. DeSantis could say, all right, who wants to be Secretary of State? Who wants to be Vice President? Let's make a deal so I'm the only one running against him, because that's the only way they're going to take him down.
Yeah. Do you think that's how it goes? What do you
I don't, because they don't have that level of organization. They don't. And
that's what I was just about to say too. They say, me and this guy's on the same level right here. I definitely don't believe they have the organization. I think the only reason why we even have Biden is because they didn't have the organization. If they had the organization, they would have fucking picked somebody way smarter, way easier to manipulate, because let's be real, they stuck their hands so far up that man's ass that now he is like a bumbling puppet. Like, he don't know which way is up for real. Like, he just don't. Like, we've never had a president that's that fucking ignorant or like that gone. I wouldn't say he's ignorant, but he kind of is. If you look at his education level, it's not that great. So, regardless, we're dealing with some serious issues. We have both sides of the political spectrum that is allowed to be part of the presidency. We have both of them very, very much beyond flawed, to put it nicely. And I do strongly think that, somebody, I wouldn't mind seeing a Tulsi Gabbard and a Ron DeSantis toss up for 2024. I don't vote. I'm not even registered to vote. I've never voted a day in my life. I don't plan on it. I don't want to be a part of a system that is just, I just never wanted to be a part of it. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's mob rule. It's no different than me and a whole group of my friends saying, you know what? We've decided this guy right here, he's going to rule everything and he gets to say what goes. And there ain't shit you can do about it because we all agreed on it. I just don't think that is right in any way. I understand voting has its purpose, and, I love it when it's on a smaller scale. But in the large scale that we were in, we wasn't really meant to be as big as we were. I truly think we should have, possibly divided into some smaller areas and only been united in like war efforts and stuff like that in times of need. But I do think there should have been like a splitting of the country, not like, how they try to paint the Civil War, because that is a whole another topic on itself, because they've lied about the Civil War since the beginning. So I don't want to talk about that, but in a sense, I do believe that we should have been split in order to be more manageable, in order to be more prosperous. we, as a whole country, could have been more prosperous if we were more like a what is the? It's not a conglomerate, but in a way it is. I'm trying to think of the term, but it would we would have seen a lot more peacetime, a lot more prosperous gains in our own individual lives. And the only reason why I know this is because I've seen it happen in a much larger scale. So anyway, let's continue this.
And you have a whole bunch of giant.
Skip ahead a little bit here.
To both Facebook and Twitter. I did read that. But to your point, yeah, my understanding was he had a deal with Truth. So the whole value of the company is tied to Trump being on it.
Exactly.
And so if he pulls out of that, he's pissing off a lot of people who invested a lot of money in that company, which, you know, he's done shit like that in the past, so I don't see why he wouldn't do it now. But look, he kind of needs it. He needs to be back on Twitter. He needs to be back on Facebook.
Right, because if he's on Twitter, that's where people are going to go.
DeSantis. So, because I know you were also a fan of Bernie.
Yes.
And they're like polar opposites in terms of the rest of their policies.
I'm a fan of him for different reasons.
Right, yeah.
You know?
But I know you said that you thought he would make a good president. And there's a bunch of things about him that I think would probably change your opinion on.
And see, that's where a lot of people... I'm not a fan of Bernie. There are things that he said that if he was truthful about, I would be a fan about. But the problem with socialists in general is they always spout this beautiful thing, this thing that is just a wonderful little wet dream that's never accomplished. Because when humans go to try to fucking do shit like that, their greed gets the best of them. Their ego gets the best of them. Now, granted, sometimes it's those who just only care about their ego that we can usually profit off of. But in this situation, I don't think Bernie could be profitable. I don't think we could profit off of Bernie. I feel like, for one, he's just like Biden, and he gets up in there, he's going to have somebody in his ear that's young enough to talk him into doing whatever the fuck they want him to do. I also think, you know, because people forget that Joe Rogan's not really a conservative figure. He has conservative values like myself, and he has liberal values just like myself. But I wouldn't say the dude's a conservative. He's far closer to being a lefty than anything. And I personally would like to have more of or at least better knowledge, because I'm pretty sure he's spoken more on it. Because I have heard him speak on his belief about Bernie, but I'd like to hear more. And maybe he'll tell them.
On it, like, for example, he thinks weed should stay illegal because it smells bad.
Is that really his opinion, that it smells bad?
He said it
Does
smells,
he not know about edibles?
Quote, putrid, and he wants it to stay banned because of that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that really his rationalization?
Jamie, if you want, you could pull that up.
Yeah, that's what it says here. But it's legal in Florida, or medically.
It says marijuana should remain criminalized because of its putrid odor.
Now, was that his, like, just an opinion or something that he wants to actually make because he just don't like the smell? Because if that's the case, yet again, that's my point about politicians is they always take their opinions and they want to become a tyrant with it. Like, they always want to take their opinion and become a tyrant. Listen, we live in a country that was designed for us to pursue our happiness. Now, granted, some people cannot stand the smell of cannabis. I love the smell. There are some cannabises though. I truly agree. They stink. They smell like fucking like cat piss or something. Like, it just doesn't smell good. It's got a really nasty smell. Some of them, and usually those are the most potent ones. Like, those are the ones that'll usually knock your dick in the dirt. Those, I personally don't like the smell of. There's some people who do like that cat piss smell, and I'll always look at them when they tell me they like that smell, and I'm like, okay, because I don't know how to feel about that. Yeah, I really don't know how to feel about that. But honestly, if that's his stance on that, if DeSantis is truly like worried about just the smell, he could honestly just make it, where like here in this state, in Washington State, you're not supposed to smoke it outside, like unless you're in your own property. That cuts down the smell of it. Now, growing it, regardless, indoor, outdoor, it doesn't matter. You're going to smell it. There's whole parts of the roads that when you're going down and past certain grow ops, you're going to smell it. It's going to be, but the smell is wonderful. It's not a bad smell when it's growing. No, I agree. Like I said, there are certain cannabis strains that just, they have a putrid, that's the best word for it, cat piss smell. And that's not a good smell. I agree. But those are potent ass fucking cannabis strains, and you gotta understand that some people need that potent ass shit, because that's usually the medical shit. Like, I mean, when I say medical, I mean that's the shit you want to turn into some oil and shit and help fight some cancer. Like, I'm dead ass. Like, that's some good shit. But it shouldn't ever be made criminalized. See, yeah, so he's using words that just makes me feel like it's more of a tyrant thing. And this is the article they tend to reword shit, which is I think they should be fined for. I don't think any of these new so-called news articles and stuff should ever be able to spew half the shit they say. They reword and put it into their own words all the fucking time, which means they change the meanings of what people are saying. For all we know, DeSantis was just joking, was like, oh, the shit should stay legal, it stinks, just joking, because a lot of older people think it stinks. People who don't smoke it, they swear up and down it's like the most nastiest smell they've ever smelled. I love the smell of like specifically like shit that has myrcene in it, because it's like a berry, like a dank ass berry smell. It just smells so good. I love that smell. I've always loved that smell.
Compiled by the University of North Florida showed that most Floridians want the adult use of marijuana to be legal in the Sunshine State. That's certainly not the case. In fact, under state law, the possession of up to 20 grams of cannabis is punished by a $1,000 fine and up to a year in prison. Possession of greater amounts is a felony. So what has he said? What I don't like about it is if you go to some of these places that have done it, the stench when you're out there, I mean, it smells so putrid. I want people to be able to breathe freely. Well, that's silly.
Yeah.
But that's also like I want to know the context. I mean, that's a quote.
See, even Joe knows what I'm talking about. You have to understand that these news people, they take quotes and they I need this. I honestly, I'm one of those people who is seeing is believing. I need to hear it straight from the fucking goat's mouth himself. I need to hear DeSantis say this and talk about this on a personal, individual level, or otherwise I can't believe anything that it's saying. I just can't. I heard so much shit about Trump. I mean, a lot of fucked up shit. Like, shit that was not true. I wish in some ways it kind of was, so that way, like, I could have been right even more about the dude, because I was not a fan of Trump in any way. Never was, and I'm probably never going to be. Politician, I just don't like them. I have some that I would like to see if they can be thought-provoking or thought-changing, because in my mind, I can't trust a politician. I don't want to, and I'm never going to. But I would love for one to try to prove me wrong. So there are a couple of them that I feel like could, if given a chance. But I just don't believe that, for one, they'll be given a chance or not. And I don't know if DeSantis is one of those completely 100% yet. But I do think that he's being a little targeted by some of the Trumpers. Because I'll see in certain comment sections, and I'll see if I can pull some of them up, and there might be some even on this video itself. But I'll try to find them. There are some people who, without hesitation, instantly go to start attacking him because they feel like he is an enemy to Trump, and anyone who is an enemy of Trump is like, the devil or some shit. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. I'll just know that they instantly go very un-American very fucking quick. Very fucking quick. So these are some things that have been on my mind for like quite some time now, and I'm just wanting to spew them out. Mainly because I'm at the point where I just no longer give a flying fuck about hurting anyone's feelings about this, because I know there's people on the left and the right that would both feel very butthurt about hearing anything like this. And listen, these are just my opinions. I'm never gonna be able to provoke that into life, and there be no longer a Republican and Democrat party like I would like to see. I would like to see other political thoughts other than authoritarian ones pop up. There are many egalitarian political beliefs that just have refused to pop themselves into the equation. It's almost like they're very small in number and being put to the curb, because even the Libertarian Party, which is supposed to be egalitarian, has many problems. Like, if it's not them getting hung up on cannabis jokes, it's sex crimes or something. It's just there's a lot of issues. I'd like to see them get somewhere. They are, in principle, egalitarian. And that's what we need. We don't need halfway egalitarian, which is like what the Republican Party wants to be. The Democrat Party virtue signals it. They've never even attempted it. In action, they've never attempted it. If you look at everything that the Democrat Party has ever done, they are the evil of evils. Okay? You know how they say lesser of evils? Well, they are the greater evil. The Republican Party is supposedly the lesser one. But I just cannot unsee them as an equal to the Democrat Party. They've done very similar actions. The Patriot Act in general. Like right now, me talking, I'm being watched because I'm just talking about this. It's something very simple, but I'm being talked about it, and they're legally able to do that because of the Patriot Act. I find that to be ignorant. I mean, granted that I'm putting it publicly out there, but if I was to just record this and keep this on my computer, they would be able to legally go in and watch it without me even consenting to it, because they could just do it under suspicion. I mean, I don't have nothing to hide. I don't do anything. I don't do shit. Like, I smoke weed and talk shit about things that I witness and see and perceive and think. That's what I do. So there's nothing like to hide or anything. Plus I have a background that saves me quite a bit, and nobody's trying to play that game. And I do think, connections that I've made over the years protect me talking reckless, so I do want it to be known that, most of the time I'm just like stoned rambling about this shit anyway. So it's not like a concrete thought process for me. It's not something like nothing that I say is always cemented in stone unless it's a fucking 110% fact. That is a legitimate thing. I personally am always saying that because I don't believe unless, it is concrete fact. Everything is constantly changing. I guess you could say the words are always being rewritten. Essentially, that's what happened. The words are always being rewritten. Everybody is always doing something, and it's the same way in science. What we know as a scientific fact today won't be the same tomorrow. Like we're constantly learning new things, new variables. So same sense in almost every aspect of life, and how I feel about in general recently about politics and politicians has always been closely to the same thing as that I just don't feel like we need them in our lives. And ever since I've come to that conclusion, I haven't been able to stop myself from talking about it. As soon as it gets brought up, I can't stop talking about it. And so in a sense, being apolitical, you have to become very political. It's like an oxymoron. In a sense, it's very weird.
Smell of marijuana. DeSantis demurs on marijuana legalization, but can't stand the dank stank. Well, okay, you don't have to like the smell.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that's why he wants it illegal. He just doesn't like the smell. A lot of people don't like the smell.
But it's not legal there recreationally, right?
No, not yet.
No?
No.
It's
not legal here either.
Would he sign the bill is the question, And it seems to me like he would, because he's a social conservative by and large, like that's his perspective. Another one is they had a vote in Florida, a direct vote on raising the minimum wage during the 2020 election. And so Trump won the state, but 60% of Florida voters voted for a minimum wage increase. They wanted to make it 15. Mm-hmm. And leading into that, DeSantis said, don't do that. I'm against doing that.
Did he have a rationalization?
I mean, I didn't see if he did, but just the fact he's against it was a strike against him in my mind. But the voters voted for it, and that is the law. So, because they had the direct vote, and I don't know if he has any legal recourse, so it's becoming law, but he told them don't vote for it. So that was a big issue. Because I know you're a fan of legal weed, you're a fan of raising the minimum wage.
Yeah.
The only problem with raising the minimum wage, okay, I've had this thought process about this because I too was kind of on board with that, and maybe it does need to go up and eventually, but unfortunately we're about to be entering an age of singularity eventually. And when that time comes, unfortunately, there will have to be, for the majority of people, based off of the fact that there won't be that many jobs around, we'll have everything we want just kind of handed to us, essentially. The problem is getting there. Getting to that point. It's very destructive. But once we get there, there will have to be some form of universal income. I don't like that idea. I feel like it takes away the human merit. Merit is what made everything happen and possible. So, I feel like something might need to change. I feel like automation might need to come to an end. I don't think we should automate things. I think we should still continue to have humans doing the hard work. if we should automate anything, it should be our birthing process. You know, have robots helping us fucking be born. You know, there's some women who can't birth a child anymore. Maybe create a birthing bot or something. You know, that you can have a embryonic sac in, and it's simulating a life to bear life, because that's necessary too, and you need life to give life. But maybe simulating it with a robot and a embryonic sac and everything can, you know, maybe we can automate the birthing process that way, because we are dying. Our species is dying. I don't know if y'all know this or not. I hate to be the fearmonger that tells you this, but as it is right now, we're dead. We're a dying species, and it's mainly because of births. And I don't know if it's because everybody decided to be gay or something, or what it is. And I'm not saying that about anybody's sexuality, but I do know that out of nowhere, a certain statistic decided to just spike out of nowhere. I can't fathom that to be a real thing. And mainly because when I was a teenager, there was this group of kids who they started their own LGBTQ club, right? They started it. There was like 4 or 5 or 6 of them. I can't even remember how many there was, but there was a very small amount of them. And I assumed they were, so I accepted them. Didn't have no. Actually, I was friends with one of them up until the moment that we found out that none of them were what they were claiming they were. They were all straight. The girls ended up dating dudes. The guys ended up dating girls. They all have families now. They weren't gay or lesbian. They and it was weird. It was the weirdest thing in the world. I don't know if they did it out of virtue signal or what. But if that group of people, when she was in a smaller school, and you look at the percentage of how it was for a small school and the percentage of people that was doing it, pretty decent amount. So then you magnify that on the same scale across the country. How many people did do that? It's fucking tenfold. Now, if that's your sexuality, that's your sexuality. I ain't talking about you. Don't get offended. I ain't talking about you. But for the person who is out there faking their sexuality for some kind of social brownie points, you're a fucked individual. I don't like you. I despise you, just quite frankly. I think that kind of person is what creates a lot more problems than the world needs. I've tried to be nice to those types of people, because I ain't worried about somebody's sexuality. That ain't my business. It's the people who are trying to make it my business I have a problem with. Because it's not none of my business what you want to do with your life. As long as you ain't intruding upon me. You know what I mean? And I ain't talking about, flirting with me. I had gay dudes flirt with me and shit all the time. I ain't worried about that shit. I'm like, cool. I'm straight, but cool, dude. I just move. I move forward, because that's what normal people fucking do. This odd fucking bullshit that people from all opposition sides are weird. Like, I don't like calling them homophobes, because not all fear is rooted in hatred and shit, or not all hatred is rooted in fear. Most, actually, a good bit of hatred is just what it is, hatred. They don't like you. they don't fear you in any way. They just don't like you. So I don't like calling them that because it's kind of redundant to the word.
He's also a big Wall Street guy. I mean, a lot of these Republicans, you don't have to look too far under the surface to find out they're all playing the same game. He took $20 million from Wall Street. He did $5.7 billion in tax cuts and giveaways to corporations. Apparently, 99% of companies in Florida pay no corporate income tax. So it's one of the states that corporations go to sort of, you know, it's a field day over there. And remember, he was feuding with Disney. Remember when he was feuding with Disney? And he was like, you know, you guys are fucking woke and this has got to stop. But he let them keep a $578 million tax break at the same time. And at that same time, he also...
Little side rant here. This fucking company... I don't know how, you know, all these gamers are fucking putting their name to this shit. You shouldn't be putting your name to this fucking garbage. I have tried every fucking flavor that they put out in these cans. Every fucking one. There's only like 2 that I can stomach, but they all taste like some kind of overly, like, they don't even have sugar in them, but they taste overly sugared up fucking garbage. I got the Tetris one that tasted like some kind of weird cotton candy mixture. It's supposed to be rainbow candy or some shit, but it's fucking disgusting. I got this Berry Blast one, or Berry Bomb one. It tastes like the Phase Berry thing, or whatever the fuck it was. And it just doesn't taste good at all. It's fucking disgusting. It tastes like some kind of weird water candy. I do not like G Fuel. It makes me feel like shit. I'm not sponsored by C4, but I'll tell you this. I'll take a C4 any fucking day. Any fucking day. I will not ever buy anything other than C. Oh, actually, you know what? I take that back. These motherfuckers are good too. I just had that yesterday. I'm gonna give me another one of those today. Them bitches are good. Prime energy drink. I didn't even like the Prime hydration one. The coconut water drink. I mean, it was okay. It just wasn't no big deal. But the energy drink, that was banging. That was really banging. I just hate that it's 10 calories. I like 0 calorie energy drinks. But it's alright. But C4 Skittles is the GOAT. If you're an energy drinker like I am, you need to get C4 Skittles. That is probably the best. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sponsored by them. I probably should be, but that's probably the best, absolutely the best energy drink that the market has right now. It's just, and I know this because certain people here in this particular area have figured that out, and now it's hard as fuck to find the Skittles, especially because all the grocery stores, they get a big stock of it, so by the end of the month they start having to sell them 2 for $5 or 2 for $4, and people just start buying the fuck out of them, and they don't have no limits on them because they, like I said, they overbuy the stock. I know this because of the whole supply and demand thing. That's the only way they can afford to sell stuff like that, is when they have overstock. And I know for a fact that's what they did. They more like, because what happens is the people who are ordering it, I forget what their particular name is, they'll notice that there's an an uptick in how many people are buying the product. So then they put in, you know, extra orders for it, and then because the product has got a certain price point, they end up building a surplus of the stuff. Instead of selling it, they're building up surplus of it. So at that point they are like, okay, we need to spicing this up a little bit. So they sacrifice the major profit off of it, but they still get a profit because they're selling it for essentially just $1 less than what it would cost for 2 of them. So most people will go in because of the deal. They'll like, oh, well, I'm gonna get like 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them, or you know, or they'll go they'll go in the increments that they sell them in, and that's how that shit works. I'm pretty savvy to what they've been doing.
Did a $1 billion tax hike on regular Floridians with a new sales tax.
Well, the amount of business that Disney must be bringing into Florida is insane.
Right.
I mean, they own Orlando.
Which is all the reason they don't need more of a...
It takes me a motherfucking hour to watch fucking 8 minutes and 19 seconds of a video because I start fucking talking shit. Shit. Anyway. Yeah, and another thing is that G Fuel's got like my throat feeling weird. I don't like it. Yet again, fuck G Fuel. I can't fuck with those folks. PewDiePie, how the fuck do you tie your name to them? How? I've tried your drink. That your drink's shit too. People who like that, I don't understand your taste buds. I can't figure it out. I won't be able to figure it out. I love you to death, but I can't figure you out. And same thing with anybody else who loves these fucking drinks. I don't understand your fucking taste buds. That's just... And it's so... Like, it upsets my stomach. Like, I feel like that dude who's staring out the window who's like, my stomach is bubbling. I literally feel like that, right? Like, when drinking that, I don't feel good. It's not a good feeling. I don't think that G Fuel is good for the body. And it could be just the rush of caffeine that's in it. There is 300 milligrams of caffeine as opposed to 200. That's in most of the good ones. But anyway, cheers. Let's get this in because I'm fucking crazy as fuck. In case anybody's wondering, the thing I'm doing with my finger as I'm putting my cap on is there's a little hole. And if you run your finger across it, it manipulates the pull of the carb cap. As you can see, there's a little hole. See it right there. It's a little bitty hole.
Subsidy, right? Like, let them fucking... They'll be able to swim. They're not going to sink. Like, let them be.
What do you think that is? Do you think there's just some financial chicanery, some behind the scenes?
I think if you're the governor of Florida and you know how big Disney is, you might talk a game every now and then of like, yeah, we don't like these guys or whatever. They're too woke. But when push comes to shove,
I don't remember
he's
what that
check.
was in regard to, the woke thing. I don't recall. It was a very specific instance.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't remember it either. But he had a big fight with them.
Well, as far as Disney and their wokeness, I think that's coming to an end. I do believe they have realized, we all say it. Everybody who is against woke culture, you go woke, you get broke, or you go broke. That's the saying in the gist. I'm not gonna repeat it with such flair as other people because it's regurgitated bullshit to me. Also, at this point, it's true, but it's still bullshit. I honestly think that there's a level of shit that they were willing to sacrifice and they didn't get a chance to, because once they got to that point of like losing money so fast, because I'm gonna be real with you, everything that they have done that had any fucking form of wokeness to it. And I'm not talking about, because there's some movies that introduce like a lesbian or trans or any, so there's a lot of movies that have introduced those concepts that did not have to do anything extra. They were good and they were universally liked. The shit that you see nowadays, it's just, it's garbage. And most of the time it's just fucking redone bullshit. Like, we as a populace are done with reboots. We don't like them. We don't want to see them. We don't want to fucking watch them. We don't even want to hear you talking about fucking wanting to do one. Like, we don't like it. And I can actually fucking collectively say that because I have seen that on a fucking wide, large scale. And the more you see reboots come out, the more you see it fiscally being and right there in front of you. They suck. They do not make money off of any of that shit. Not a fucking bit of it is making money. That's I got into a fucking wild ass fucking rant today. I'm telling you, I was feeling some kind of way. Anyway, let us jump off of here. I just wanted to talk about some fucking DeSantis shit because I thought that shit was funny. Let me just look in the comment section to see if there's anything funny. Here's a twist when Trump and DeSantis debate. They should just agree and compliment each other to throw everyone off. You know, that some jackassery that might just fucking happen, though, to be honest with you. Like, some shit like that might happen. Like, they passive aggressively, like, give each other compliments. Like, it'd be passive aggressive compliments. God damn, I actually want to see that now. Let's all just project that thought and hopefully it happens. You know? If the theory that we're all just a collective consciousness is true, that'd be cool. We could all just collectively get that going. That would be funny as shit. Yeah. He was checking off all his talking points. I noticed that too. Like, when you go on the Joe Rogan, you better have your shit. That's why even if I was famous enough to fucking get on Joe Rogan, I don't think I could, because my ADHD just fucking goes ape shit. I don't think I would be able to stay on topic with him because I would go from talking about fucking Bigfoot to ayahuasca trips to fucking everything under the goddamn sun. Everything. I could just talk for fucking hours. I'm just one of those people who will, if I can hear you say something, like a topic, one topic, I will fucking continue with that topic. And what's funny is because I'm ADHD, I will fucking stretch off into 7 multi-branched different mini topics and then root right back to the fucking original. It's funny as shit. Anyway, let's play some fucking Assassin's Creed now. I did not have any intentions on fucking talking for a whole fucking hour, but, you know, here I am. I got the time, though. It is what it is. it's working. I think because I've had it in the thing, it's no longer active. That's crazy. And I can hear it, but it's not popping up at all. Not there, not there, not there. What the hell? I had to end that task. Let me restart that. Maybe. Some weird shit. Man, I just noticed I look red as fuck because of this light. Let me change this. Fucking weird ass light. See, it's saying it's playing, but it's not. Okay, there it goes. Are you fucking with me? What the hell? Ubisoft, why are you being this way? Why you go and do me like that? Bitch. I'm about to snap on this thing. What the fuck? I didn't even see you say G's until now. What the hell? How long has that even been there? It's like been going like super stupid slow for some reason. It's like it's getting locked onto one side of my fucking... Alright. Goddamn. For some reason, it like locked all usage on one monitor. I don't know what the fuck happened. But it locked all usage over on one monitor. And it took me forever. I had to actually look up what the key was because it was locked on to this monitor. I didn't have access to my start menu. So the actual start menu, when I hit it, would just pop up over here on the actual other screen. So it was being very, very difficult. So I had to remember what the actual key was for the entire menu over there where I was wanting to go, or how you swap the monitor usage with the key. It would have been a simple fix if I just had an ability to go straight to my settings right there on the spot. She lifted her head up and meowed at me, so I meowed back. She just looked at my cat back there, just chilling.
The time of shadow.
It's the goddamn trouble. No, bubble. Get out of my way, goddamn.
Careful. Don't want to be seen here.
Restricted area!
That was what I was supposed to be doing. The arena. I don't recall ever doing that at all. I think that's part of the DLC. Might have to go and do that. I refuse to that's fucking far away. You know what? I don't have time to travel all the way there the normal way. We're gonna teleport.
Mentioned in the letter about the arena fighting. Meon.
All these brave, brave souls. Only the best warriors rest here. Heroes.
They aren't many.
But they're heroes of the arena. Those who earned an honorable death. The others are buried in unmarked holes far from here. Nobody remembers them. When your time comes, do you think you'll be worthy of the title hero, Misthios?
I'd be more than worthy to rest here, if someone proved strong enough to kill me.
I've heard tales of you and your exploits, Misthios. Impressive, if they're true.
Depends on what you've heard.
I've heard a lot. A warrior adventuring across the land. Sometimes they're half beast, or half god, but always an eagle bearer. Tell me, is any of it true?
There is some truth in the stories, but they're mostly fantasy.
Good answer. I don't care if the stories are true. I can see you have it in you. A capacity for greatness. The potential to be a real hero. I am Mayon.
Cassandra.
If you want to truly live Cassandra, to become a hero of the arena, and to win riches beyond your wildest dreams, you'll need to fight in my arena.
Sounds interesting.
Good. Take my boat and head up the Pefka coast towards the shipwreck and into... If he sees what I see...
Mayon said to look for shipwrecks. Turn back before I sink. The shipwrecks should lead me to the arena. Navas told me about the arena. I should give it a go. That must be Skura.
I remember. Shh. Do you hear that?
Yes, I hear it too. What do you think it could be?
It's the sound of someone lying to me.
Or someone humoring a frail old man.
They tell me you could hear the crowds from all the way out here. The thirst never quenched.
Thirst for what?
Combating the arena, Mystios. Life and death in their purest forms. Love, hate, glory and ruin. All there for the crowds to devour. My name is Skura.
Cassandra, I found a note that mentioned this place. And you. It called for fighters from all over the Greek world.
These walls no longer shake because there are no heroes of the arena left. The crowds don't care about real fighters anymore. They just want blood. But you, Mystios, and win riches beyond your wildest...
Perhaps I can make...
Good.
My blades and I. Vasilis will have devoured his last opponent.
I'll fight what I'm assuming is the top of the line.
For those of you about to risk your lives, the crowd salutes you!
For those about the rock, we salute you. Reference.
I'm putting you down!
I hope you're ready! yourself a Spartan? Ah!
It ends here!
Do you hear? You must have done well in there.
Did you not see?
I haven't seen a fight from inside the arena in years. But if the crowds are cheering like that, perhaps I have a hero on my hands after all.
Of course they cheer for me. Who could resist cheering for a warrior legend in the arena?
Maybe the stories I've heard are true. Skura? Aeon? Ah, Mistius. I knew it as soon as I laid eyes on you. You could be hero of the arena like Skura. If you keep fighting, I foresee a long and profitable career for both of us. Talk to Skura when you're ready to continue.
I'm ready to continue.
Choose your opponent.
I have unpaid debts to collect.
I see. Anyone in particular come to mind?
You don't say. I'm level like 40 something. I forget what I was. Level 31. No, 32 now. So makes sense how full that was up.
Choose your opponent.
The rock from Athens is about to be crushed.
This will be my last one, and I'm gonna call it here.
Here we go.
folks stay nice and stony. I will be back later with some more of this wonderful little stony programming that I have for you. I am out of here. You guys stay nice and stony. Peace.